So welcome to the 2012 Paris Motor Show, and it wouldn't be a Paris Motor Show without some kind of strange, weird and wonderful French supercar that they're never going to make. And this year we have the Peugeot Onyx. Its specification reads like it's from the environmental gods. It's got a 600 horsepower hybrid diesel engine, and in its construction are used, wait for it, newspaper and wood. The problem is, of course, being a French supercar, they're not going to make it. We're going to bring you lots of reports today, lots of interesting stuff. Mike Spinelli was on the piss last night, so actually he's still in bed. When he wakes up and we can knock some coffee down him, we'll have a chit chat as well. So, Persia supercar, they're not going to build. Let's get going.
Welcome to Road Testament. We are in the bowels of the Porsche booth at the Paris Auto Show. Chris Harris is with me right here. Chris, what are the cars we're looking at today at the Paris Auto Show?
Okay, to start with, the Paris Motor Show is not always the best place for new metal, but this seems to be... There's a buzz about it this year. Would you agree there's a buzz?
Yes.
I don't like coming to motor shows, but I felt I had to come to this one.
Welcome to Mercedes-Benz.
We've got a new Mclaren, we've got a new Jaguar, we've got a new VW Golf, we've got a Bentley customer racing car that we didn't see coming. We've got all manner of weird new French stuff. The Mercedes SLS E-Cell is being launched. There's more as well, but those seem to be the highlights for me at the moment.
There's a lot of big stuff. Those are definitely the ones that I'm looking at too. Also, while the European auto industry is in a tailspin at the moment, so this is actually good news. Or they're taking the focus off of some very serious issues that they have. So I don't know.
Okay, where should we start? Let's start with McLaren, because you've had a little look at this.
Yes, I've actually had a sneak peek at the McLaren, which by the time this comes up won't be a sneak peek anymore. But it's a tremendous car to look at because there's just so much to look at in it. There are ducts and channels and amazing aerodynamic stuff with that thing. In fact, I've almost never seen a car that was a production car that had so much aerodynamic interest in it.
Are they being slightly more cautious and modest about the way they communicate the car initially? Because before the MP412C came out, there was a lot of...
Yeah.
And I suspect they feel that was the wrong approach looking back now.
Maybe. What they're doing is not talking about the engine. They're not, well, which is one of the things we were hoping they would talk about a lot. So they're not talking about the engine, they're not talking about the suspension, which were two things about the first car that were tremendous. What they are showing is the design and the aerodynamic stuff. And it was no accident that they showed, the first teaser image was of an aerodynamic map. So if that tells you anything about that car, that's exactly the story that they're telling right now. But they're not doing a lot of that breastbeating that you mentioned.
Interesting, isn't it?
Yeah.
So anyhow, we're going to go to a party tonight and get completely drunk and look at it.
Absolutely.
That's professional, that is. P1 was unveiled about 5 minutes ago and we got on the stand. Have a look at this, it's extraordinary. That wing has just disappeared. When it comes up, it can go into an active aero mode and it can then stall. The level of detail on the car is extraordinary. Look at that rear diffuser, it's massive. 600 kilograms of downforce at what they call track speed. So that's not at 200 miles an hour, that's less than that. We're going to be told nothing more about it until Geneva. There's a bit of a scrum of rich people trying to get around it, but it's just stunning. Absolutely stunning. And much better in the flesh than any picture I've seen. It's a fascinating thing. There's some complicated shapes. It's not what you call classically beautiful, but remarkable.
Yes.
Okay. Is the F-Type too expensive? In English money, they're telling me a base car is £58,000, and then the top one is like £70,000. I personally think it might almost be a price point beyond which I can't begin to reach a conclusion about the car, because that's just so much money.
Well, it seems like they've slotted it right in between the Boxster, Cayman, and the 911 instead of going after either one. They're sort of looking to maybe get in between that. But is the car that much better than a Boxster that you would choose that?
So here it is then. One of the big stars of the show, the F-Type Jaguar. Last night they announced the prices, starting at about 58 and going up to well beyond £70,000. And I have to say, I thought they've gone mad. What are they doing? Just had a good chat with Mike Cross, which always improves the situation, and a bit more understanding the positioning of the car. It might be quite clever, you know. I'm talking about the UK here. The 991 Porsche is an expensive car coming in at regularly £90,000 with options, and people aren't buying it because it's too expensive to change up from their 997. I know it always comes back to Porsche, but they dominate that marketplace. So the proposition for F-Type is, as far as I can see it, it's more than a Cayman or a Boxster, but it's a bit less than a 911. I think that could be really, really clever. In terms of performance, 380 odd horsepower for the mid V6. Well, that is, they reckon, in terms of benchmarking, kind of 997 Carrera S pace. And they think that the top level V8 model is going to be, well, it's thick end of 500 horsepower, so that's more 911 turbo performance for, well, we're looking at maybe £80,000 with extras. So the positioning needs to be understood. We need to drive the car first. We're looking at early next year. I think it looks fantastic. We've only waited 30 years for it. Thank you, Jaguar.
For me, it's a surprise. It might be clever. They might have said, do you know what, if we go head-to-head with Boxster, we're going to take a shoeing. There's a lot of people out there that think the 991's a bit too expensive. Can we just nip in there? Yeah. It might, turn out to be a stroke of absolute genius, and I hope for them it is.
Yeah. Well, the car has to be amazing. It has to be one of the best cars on, because look at how competitive that little sphere that they're operating.
But with a torque converter automatic, is it going to be that?
I don't know. That remains to be seen. But the design, people might be buying for the design because it's Jag beautiful.
If you had a net worth of $10 million, which you probably do, given the wardrobe that you sport,
absolutely,
and you wanted to go and buy a custom GT3 car to campaign in blank paint or do FIA GT3, would you buy a Bentley?
It wouldn't have been my first choice.
Of the VW brand portfolio group members, which one do you think is the least likely to make a customer GT3 car? Has to be Bentley, doesn't it? This thing is a right old lump. It looks incredible. Quite how effective it's going to be on the race circuit, I'm not quite sure. 1,300 kilograms, they're saying. It's still at concept stage. The road car is 2,100 kilograms. Quite how you strip nearly 800 kilograms out of a car, I don't know. I suspect you use different materials and change just about everything about it and don't make the body panels from lead. It's got some presence, though. At next year's N24, if one of those comes up behind you, you will get out of the way.
I'm amazed to see that all of these, that Audi, Porsche, and Bentley are now competing head-to-head. It says a lot about that company.
It does, and it says an awful lot about a certain man called Mr. Durheimer, who is now obviously working at Audi. He's not officially commenting on anything. There's a 100-day period where they tend to say, zip it, don't say anything, get your head around the company. But what a theme of this show is that when you go round some of the VW Group stands, they're littered with projects he started when he was in those companies. So the whole hybrid thing at Porsche, the 918 Spider, the green calipers, that was all Durheimer. He then left and went to Bentley, and everyone was there going, well, we're going to finish this project. It's a Durheimer project, we'll finish it. He goes to Bentley, and what do we see? We suddenly see a GT3 racing car. That's absolutely Durheimer. I can remember seeing him in the 24 hours of Nürburgring in 2011, and he came up for a chat, and I said, well, why are you here? Oh, we're just considering a few options. So he was clearly there looking at the project. But he doesn't get to see it come to fruition. It must be so frustrating. He leaves again, goes to Audi, and they unveil his baby. But he retains a responsibility overall for Volkswagen Group Motorsport. As long as he's in charge, Volkswagen are going to be racing everywhere.
Well, I'm amazed at how much weight they pulled out of the Bentley Continental to make that a GT3 car.
Well, they used alloys instead of lead.
I mean, they also took the front diff out, they took the seats out, and they took basically everything out, and they lost 2,200 pounds, which in your languages would be, 1,300 kilograms?
That's a lot.
That's a lot.
It's a lot of
weight. It's an amazing amount of weight from that car. But I guess, that's a race car. That's because race car.
And they might make 50 in the next year, and we've spent 10 minutes talking about it, so we should probably move on. There is another new launch here, which we didn't mention initially, which is very important for the European market and really quite important for the UK, and that's a little Peugeot Hatchback. 208 GTI. Have to say, much anticipated. I'm a big GTI fan. I've still got a 205 of my own. I walked up to it and went,
200 horsepower, 203 foot-pounds of torque, 26,000 euros. In the UK, on the front of it, you'll get a sort of Union Jack flag. This is the French edition, obviously, with the French flag down there. In summary, it looks okay. It doesn't make me think I've got to drive that car. And that's a bit of a problem, isn't it?
That's one of the cars that we sort of look to as the hot hatches that we could never get in the States. And so when I hear that you don't like it, it's kind of disturbing.
It's going to have to drive like whipped cream with 7 cherries on top to overcome just how boring it looks. And they're launching it as a special edition. So there's 43 cars you can buy at £21,000 or a bit less. And then there's the series production cars, and you can have sort of flags on the bonnet. You don't see a confident company that's confident about its product going about its business like that.
Yeah.
Does Volkswagen launch the Golf GTI as a special edition? No. It just says, this is the Golf GTI. It's all the car you'll ever need. It's brilliant. And we all go, yeah, it is really, isn't it? Peugeot, special editions, I mean, it's too much of that. Right. Don't get it.
Well, and it's interesting you should mention, because the GTI, the new Mark 7 Golf is out this time, and it's the Walter de Silva beautiful. I mean, honestly, I think that he's really refined that shape into something really, really nice.
Well, you'll see some of the footage of the Golf, but the attention it's garnering from rival manufacturers. I mean, you can't get near the things because they're being swarmed over by Korean people taking photos and with slide rulers and things.
Yeah.
This lady here has got a tape measure, like a metal tape thing in her hand, you can see just there. And she's just from a rival brand, and she's just measuring everything about this car's interior, all the textures. Look at this here. Look at that. Getting the thickness of it. So motor shows are about spying. Not used to taking photos under the steering column now. Pull the thing off, why don't you?
It looks fantastic. It's 100 kilograms like for like lighter than the previous model. That's so significant. And if they're going down that route, then they're doing us all a favour, because they're delivering performance the right way. They're saying, we won't give it any more power, we'll take weight out of it. So on that note, a heavy car is this SLS e-tron thing which they're unveiling today. I saw the numbers and I did actually swear in front of someone from Mercedes because I couldn't believe some of the numbers. They're claiming 700 and something equivalent horsepower from the batteries.
That's amazing.
It seems to run out of puff at about 150 miles an hour. It weighs a lot though. It's like a 2-ton, well, 2,000 kilograms, whatever that is in your money. It's a really heavy bit of kit.
Yeah.
So, but enormous conkers to launch a car like that to the marketplace. So we'll go over to the launch in an hour or so and have a look.
I'm sitting down, I'm feeling a bit jaded, but please don't mistake my tiredness for a lack of interest in the vehicle behind me. It's a new SLS AMG electric drive. Its name's just changed from E-Cell. Maybe that's because they didn't want it to sound like a Southern African person describing their exit hole. Work that one out. This is a remarkable car with so many numbers and new things. I need to read them off my iPhone. So here we go. 740 horsepower, 1,000 Newton meters, 0 to 60 in 3.9 seconds, 0 to 124 in 12.9 seconds. That's going some. It runs out of puff at 155 miles an hour, and it weighs a lot, 2,095 kilograms, so it's a right old lump. Developed by the clever people at Brixworth, who also do the Mercedes F1 engines, and finished in a sort of weird metallic blue, which I have to say leaps out at you. Is it rational? No. Does it compare on performance with a normal SLS? No, it doesn't. But as a statement of what's possible without petrol, you have to say it's remarkable. And coming from a company as potentially staid and ordinary and low-key as Mercedes-Benz, it's a remarkable car. Yeah. Can't wait to have a go at it.
What else do we have on our list?
Well, we didn't talk much about the Sport Turismo.
Oh, the Sport Turismo.
Yeah.
So we just had an interesting discussion with someone who might present on a rival YouTube automotive show.
Which one is that?
Well, something about trends.
Trends and motors.
Trends, anyhow. Drag Race UK. And basically, they were walking around it thinking, what can we drag race this? No, they weren't. What they were doing was they were saying, do you know what? I think the Panamera is better than this, and I don't understand it, I'm afraid. I'm a supporter of the Panamera to the point that people want to kill me for defending it. But this is a better looking car, isn't it?
It absolutely is. So I've never been a big fan of what the Panamera looked like. It's a fantastic car. I'll try not to lash out, but I think it's a fantastic car. But I do think that the Turismo, Sport Turismo, the way that they've raked it in the back, it just reconciles all that volume that we were talking about on the side, and it just looks much better as an estate car, as we say.
What do we think to the way that a company like Porsche now reverse engineers the process of concept cars? So it's a concept. Of course it's not a concept, they're going to build it. So the way they do it is they finish the car and then they think, right, you take a sledgehammer and smash the wing mirrors off it. That make it a concept.
Yes.
And then someone design a fake door handle that you could never use in real life.
Right.
And then someone basically stick an iPad screen somewhere in the dashboard.
Right, and then they put lots of shiny metal on the seats. Apparently, that's another thing.
Yeah.
I mean, and that's basically it. I mean, they just take the car, shave it all down, and show it as put giant wheels on it, and it's a concept.
Have you been over to the Fiat stand yet?
No, I have not.
There's several women there that you would hard.
I can't wait to go over. Would or could? Two different things.